So what if the government, submission to the government, negates our submission to God? What if obeying the government and the laws means disobeying God? What do you do? It's what's called civil disobedience. So when is civil disobedience called for? Now, I'm not beginning a revolution here today. That's not my intent, okay? And I'm not saying there's not peaceful protests and petitions and all those sort of things. This is talking about the overthrowing of a government, okay? The overthrowing of a law, if you will, of all those sort of things, of civil disobedience, okay? So let's ask this question, because I'm going to show you some biblical examples of this. Number one, rarely and with great wisdom only as a last result. Rarely and with great wisdom only as a last resort. So civil disobedience, we see it in the Old Testament, we see it in the New Testament. Exodus chapter 1, the Jewish midwives were told to kill every young Hebrew boy that was born. Remember that? They said, we will not do it. Joshua chapter 2, Rahab the harlot is hiding spies in her house. And the king, I read it last night, the king sends word to her, where are the spies? And she lies and says, they went that way. Daniel defies Nebuchadnezzar by continuing to pray. Jonathan disobeys Saul by protecting David. In the New Testament, in Acts chapter 4, verse 18 through 20, let me show you here with the beginning here of the early church. So they called on them and ordered them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Jesus. Peter and John answered them and said, whether it is right in the sight of God for us to listen to you rather than to God, you decide. For we are unable to stop speaking about what we have seen and what we have heard. Acts chapter 5, verse 27. And after they brought them in, they brought them to stand before the Sanhedrin, and the high priest asked, didn't we strictly order you not to teach in this name? Look, you have filled Jerusalem with your teaching, and determined to make us guilty of this man's blood. And Peter and the apostles replied, we must obey God rather than people. Okay? So, in this, we see that if there's a place in which the government says you cannot pray, we as believers continue to pray. You cannot have faith in Jesus Christ, we continue to have faith in Jesus Christ. You cannot share the gospel, we continue to share the gospel. You have to dismember the church and church is over, we continue to meet. You see the difference? Hey, thanks for watching. To find out more about Houston's First, you can subscribe to our channel or you can go to houstonsfirst.org.